I spent a whole summer learning for the German C1 exam, and then I learned all of these books, but then I failed. But this video is going to have a happy ending, and I'm going to share you 5 tips that helped me pass the exam for the second time. First, I'm going to go through some general points about learning the language. They are helpful for all of the language that you're going to learn, like German, English, I don't know, Spanish, Japanese, everything that you want to learn. These general tips are basically helpful for the whole process of language learning. And then I go specifically through the tips that helped me pass the German Goethe C1 exam. The first general point is that you have to immerse yourself with the language all the time. You have to spend many hours a day listening or consuming the language that you want to learn. For example, I always listen to podcasts whenever I'm commuting to work or commuting back, and even at the work when I have a task that I don't have to concentrate a lot on the subject. So I always have a YouTube playing in the background, or a podcast with the headset, and you don't have to understand 100% of what is playing, but the point is that your ear and your mind is going to get used to the language, the vocabulary, the accent, the different kinds of accent, and it really speeds up your learning process. And the second point is using these kinds of flashcards. Like, I have many of them. I don't know how many I wrote them, and it's only the half of it. Yeah, I just bought them from Amazon, and the thing is that whenever I'm at waiting at somewhere, in the bus, in the train, or waiting at the line to get my lunch, and I just take these flashcards out of my pocket, and I use these dead times for myself to more productively, actually. And for the German language, I use these colorful flashcards because you know that in German language we have different kinds of genders. So I used very traditional or typical colors for genderification. For example, I wrote the feminine words on feminine nouns on the pink, of course. It is pink, so because the color helps to remember the gender easier. For example, this is a feminine noun. It's called, I don't know if you can see, die Verfassung, and then underneath I wrote down the plural form. And then on the other side I wrote down the meaning of it, and then one example. Whenever you see a new vocabulary or a word or a noun or whatever, you have to make it active in your mind by making a sentence. So I make a sentence in the moment that I learn the vocabulary, and then I just write it down. And I try to use it in a sentence. It's very important because it can happen that you know one vocabulary, but you cannot use it in different forms in different parts of the sentence. And then for the masculine, of course, it's blue, and for the neutral ones is green. And I also have some for adverbs and verbs. For verbs, I write down the verb, and then underneath I write down the past tense and the perfect tense of it. And I also one of the very important points for the German is the prepositions. For example, some verbs come always with this fixed preposition, and it's very important to know it. For example, here I said im Umgang, and then on the back of the flashcards is mit, like im Umgang mit, like it always come together. And it's very helpful for the reading task 1. Okay, the third point is participating in events. especially when it's German speaking events. I know that it's very frustrating when you start to learn a language, you are not confident enough to enter the local communities or enter the German speaking events, and you kind of try to isolate yourself and try to avoid these kinds of communication, but it really helps you. And as I experienced, the people are very welcoming in these communities, and even if you are not very fluent in the language, they try to communicate with you, and even if you are not speaking that fluent, and then they try to help you to start to talk and be more communicative. The more you communicate with the local people, your ears get more used to the language, the different accents, and it really speeds up your learning process. And the fourth one is watching German shows or YouTubes. There are tons of channels that are specifically for learning German language. At the end of the video, they even list the vocabulary that they used, and they are going to explain and go through the definitions. About watching German shows, you can always go for ARD and ZDF. There are very amusing shows on these channels. Or whenever you are doing like a Netflix and chill, or I don't know, on Amazon Prime, there are lots of shows and series that you can watch them with German audio or even German subtitle. And there are some German series, like originally German series. I started with the Dark. I really love this show, and it's not a show actually, it's a series. I cannot recall any other series actually right now. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to write it on the comment section so everyone can use it. The fifth one is reading magazines. Magazines are usually very up-to-date because they come up with up-to-date subjects that are going right now in the society. So like the exam is also very updated in the subjects. For example, they want you to write about I don't know, climate change, or they want you to write about gentrification, or they ask you to write about the nutrition score of groceries. Like all of these very currently discussed subjects. Yeah. And one of the magazines that I like to read is this Deutsch Perfect. It's from TIPPS, and I think it's going to be published once a month, and every time it's about one subject. For example, this one is about Christmas, and then every page or every second page there is a new topic that they go through. They write like a page about it, and then afterwards they go through the definition of the vocabulary that they used on the page or in the page, I don't know. And it's really helpful. Like it even has some crosswords, some special word games that you can, like here is a crossword that I didn't do, and yeah, it's a good one. Another one that I like is this Spectrum. Spectrum is more scientific, and it could be a little bit too academic and hard to read, but it's really good to get used to the vocabulary in a scientific essays or scientific paragraph, because most of the tasks for the reading section are scientific and academic language, and there is no vocabulary definition, but it always helps you to get more in touch with these subjects. I think you can find the PDF format online for these magazines, or if not, you can just buy it from any kinds of library or bookstore. Before diving into my exam specific tips, I want to explain you why I chose Goethe exam and not TELC, DSH or OST or any kind of other exams. The most important reason that I chose Goethe exam was that Goethe was offering modular exam. What is modular? It means that you have 4 skills that we are gonna be tested during an exam. It's reading, listening, writing and speaking. Yeah. Speaking. And an exam is modular. It means that if you cannot pass, I don't know, speaking or writing, you can retake the exam only for speaking and writing. You don't have to go through the whole exams. Goethe exam was a little bit more expensive than the other ones. I think I paid once for every module. It's 109 euros right now. I think it's about that. If you register for all the 4 modules at the same time, it's gonna be like 89 euros per module or 90 euros. I don't really remember. And yeah, it's going to be a little more expensive, but I think it's worth it because you don't have to retake the whole exam every time that you cannot pass one module. Yeah, the second reason that I chose Goethe was that the Goethe was just around my corner and it was easy for me to get to the exam. So now let's talk about the exam itself. And first I want to go through the books that I used. The first one is this one. It's called Mit Erfolg zum Goethe-Zertifikat C1. It first explains how the exam is gonna be, and then it goes one by one through every task that you have to solve on the exam, and then it has some practices about this. And you can solve them, and it really helped me, and it has some tips and tricks about what to do, and for example how to answer the question, what should you pay attention to, or for example it has some examples for writing and speaking. So this book is more about practicing the exam. And if you want tests itself, it is another book. It's again Mit Erfolg zum Goethe-Zertifikat C1, but here it's written a Testbuch. Also it's a test book, and it's 3 or 4 model tests, and you can simulate the whole exam for yourself. So actually the second tip that I wanted to talk about is that to simulate the exam for yourself. I think 1 week before the exam they're going to send you an email, and then they are going to tell you what time your exam is going to be. For example, if you're going to start at 10 a.m. with the reading task, you have to simulate the exam exactly as it is going to be on the exam date. So you have to wake up on at 8 a.m. and then start simulating on time with the modules, so that your brain is gonna understand the schedule of the exam. And on the exam, at the listening part, you're gonna have someone is coughing, or the window is open, and there are lots of noises coming inside the room, and you cannot really concentrate. So it's better your environment when you are simulating the exam is not very noise free. For example, I used to go to the libraries. In libraries there are very distractions, like someone's just walking, someone's just looking at you, I don't know, someone's just going to the toilet, they are flushing and everything, so there are many distractions. And I used to go to study at the libraries, so that I can somehow simulate the way that the exam is gonna be. And the third tip is that eat healthy before the exam and during. I don't know, I used to eat healthy and no alcohol, no nothing else, like 1 month before the exam, because I wanted my brain to function at its best. And then have a balanced breakfast in the morning, not much sugar, so that you have a sugar spike. and don't forget to take your water with you, and then have a snack, like a healthy snack. I myself asked ChatGPT to tell me what to eat between every module of the exam, so you can also use this. But GPT told me to, I don't know, have nuts after the second module, or have a banana after the third module, and I don't know, drink water. Of course, you have to stay hydrated, but not much hydrated that you have to go to the toilet between the exam, like during the exam. Like between the exam you can always use the bathroom, but not during the modules. Like, and finally, my last but not least point, you have to change your mindset about learning a language. It is going to be a very frustrating process. I know that, especially when you have to learn a language. If you're learning a language for hobby, it's okay, you're gonna have fun. But if you have to learn the language because you need a certificate, or because you need to work with the language, or because you need to get integrated to the society, it is going to be frustrating. And this force that is on your shoulders is going to make you it's going to make the process miserable, I would say. Change your mindset. Try to remind yourself that you're learning this language because it's beneficial for you, because it's going to help you, because it's fun. I motivate myself and saying that, okay, I'm learning this language because I want to avoid dementia when I get old. So this is my motive. And whatever your reason is for learning the language, have fun in the process. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel, or share the video if you think it's helpful for others. Thank you very much, and see you next time.